In 2007, Luqman Onikosi came to the UK to study for a degree in economics at Sussex University. Whilst studying, he was diagnosed with chronic liver disease as a result of hepatitis B. Effective treatment for the condition, which requires careful monitoring, is not available in Nigeria. He has already lost 2 brothers, both living in Nigeria, to the same condition. Theresa May and the Home Office threatened to deport Luqman after refusing his leave to remain application. He is now at risk of detention and deportation at any time. If deported to Nigeria, a country without the public healthcare provision necessary to keep Luqman alive, it is almost certain he will suffer the same fate as his 2 brothers. How did you feel when your most recent application to remain in the UK was rejected?
I think that was shocking, given the international student contribute about 40 billion pounds a year to the British economy. If unforeseen circumstances occur in the course of the period when the student is acquiring those education, there should be a kind of leniency or a better way to look into that situation.
Did it feel like Britain wanted your money as a student? They wanted your fees?
To be precise, cash cow.
The cash cow, that's how you felt, a cash cow?
Yeah.
They wanted your money, but they didn't want any problems, having to look after you if anything went wrong. Is that how it felt?
That is it, because these services are not actually free. I fulfill all my obligation, financial obligation, when I'm in this country. It shouldn't even be on the basis of financial right. There should be empathy. I'm not talking about sympathy now. Sympathy, I just think it's a very pragmatic way of thinking about politics. But empathy, but putting yourself in another person's shoe, right? What would you do? I've been struggling so hard to get international students more politically active on campus to speak about how their life is being affected. I'm not just talking about the money stress. I'm talking about the emotional stress. The system has put pressure on them. I would call it state violence.
What would happen to you if you had to go back to Nigeria?
That's a question I try not to often think about. For me, going back home is more about, how do you want to die? Do you want to go home and die slowly and know there's nothing can be done for you? Or do you want to stay here and fight or ultimately commit suicide? You know, because I felt like this is going to go on forever.
And you've considered that? You thought about committing suicide?
I've attempted suicide many times. The last one was horrible because I was bleeding from my nose completely. Like, that has a significant effect on my liver because the fibrosis level of my liver shot up. The fibrosis stage is about, it depends on how you measure it, but I will use the common one, which is cirrhosis 0 to cirrhosis 5. So that's the stages. I am in cirrhosis 4.
Have you encountered immigration enforcement? Because technically they could just come in here, couldn't they? If they could get access, which obviously we wouldn't let that happen, they could take you at any moment, couldn't they?
They could, yeah. They told me that because when the application was put in, my last application was put in, I was put on temporary admission, and it's clearly stated on the paper that you are a person that is liable for detention. So I have to go to Croydon every month. And I went there, and this guy come into the room, impromptu arrangement for a meeting. I went there to sign on, and basically they put me into this room and sign. And this guy was saying that I wanted to check everything is still the way it was. And then he says, if I refuse, then he is going to detain me.
And this gentleman worked for immigration enforcement?
Yes. They've got my phone, they've got everything on me, of me, so I cannot even call anyone. I was in this room with this guy.
Without your lawyer?
Without my lawyer, who is asking me that I must speak to him, otherwise he can detain me. And I just thought of it as like, no one is going to ever hear from me again.
How did that make you feel?
I felt like I have to always justify myself. We're talking about end of life here. Yeah. When you look at bodies, it seems like there is a class to bodies. When you look at I can't pronounce it, the one that people ask permission to get killed when they're ill.
Euthanasia?
Euthanasia, yeah. People in this country are not being allowed to do that because their life is still very valuable, right? And you have somebody who is dying that really wants to stay alive and is begging to stay alive, to have the the reprieve to be able to stay alive. And the life is being rejected as if it's not worthy of living.
Engaging people who manifest that kind of behaviour, these immigration enforcement officers.
Yeah.
seeing them as actual human beings in flesh and blood, was it kind of unbelievable to you that people could behave like this?
I think when you see them, it's like they not just that they see it as another job, but they see it as a way of to glorifying the idea of the British Empire.
Is that how it felt?
Yeah, and that in itself is an element or remnant of colonialism.
What does the words British values mean to you then?
I think it's good to look at it from 2 points of view, right? The first is the everyday contact with the British people on the street or your neighbors or at the university. Those are, to me, the real British value that I get from people. The solidarity, the people, wants to know where you come from, your story. That does not come from the aspect of the system or the state. And when you look at the British value which the state is talking about as it reflects in the policy, I think it's very draconian. It's always against the order unless you have something in terms of money to contribute to the system. And as soon as you don't have money to contribute to the system, you can't be part of the system.
So somebody watching this video who says, Luqman needs my help, what can they do to help you?
I think first I really want to appeal to people to basically see me as a fellow human. I'm imploring you to join my campaign. I encourage other international students as well who is going through similar crisis. You are not alone and you should speak out. And don't be afraid that this is going to affect your immigration issue. The more you suffer in silence, the more compounding the pain you're feeling will be.